Good morning, everyone. A little bit, I would like to introduce myself at this time. So my name is Kumar Iyer. I am based out of Pune. I work in the sustainability space. And my concept of sustainability is a little different from what conventionally people talk when they talk about sustainability. So my idea is that sustainability should create value, and especially value for social impact. Otherwise, that sustainability will not be sustainable in itself. So you would have a situation where the sustainability is not sustainable. So I mean, it seems like a paradox, but it is a fact that most people get disillusioned with sustainability when it really does not seem to be benefiting them. So I work in this area, and I have introduced a few concepts which actually make it more attractive to be sustainable. I mean, what do I mean by that? We will get to that during the workshop, but it pays to be sustainable. That's what I'm trying to talk to people about. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. You'll know more about me as we get into the workshop, because a lot of the ideas that you will hear me talk about are something which I believe in very strongly. And these are something which are these are ideas which are close to my heart. And I hope that at the end of the day today, at the end of this session, I would not say the end of the day, but at the end of these 2 hours, I would have convinced some of you to at least think about some of the things that I have talked about today. So a couple of things. One, I don't want to keep talking all the time. So let's make it interactive. I want you to ask questions. Let us discuss things, because I don't want this to be a one-way traffic, because there are going to be ideas which are going to come out, which I would want you to think about. So I want you, everyone here, to question me, attack me. I have no problem there. But if you keep quiet, then I feel that, the fact is that, am I actually coming through to you? That is a question that I will have. So, and let me put this way, there are no good or bad questions, no silly questions, no stupid ideas. I mean, because it's only when we voice out our thoughts that we learn. So don't be hesitant. I will not judge you on what you ask me. I mean, because I have been all through my life the person who has asked the most random of questions. So there is nothing random in questioning. So feel free. My only request to you would be that if you have a question and I am speaking, just raise your hand. As soon as I'm done, I will call on you, so that your thoughts don't get pushed back till the end of the session. We address it then and there. So the second thing that I would like for you to do is turn on your videos, because I'm only looking at blank tiles. And that is another thing that I don't like. So, at least, we can't do this in person, but at least I can look at your faces. There is something there that I have to talk to, rather than looking at a blank tile. So my request to all of you, please turn on your cameras. You can turn, thank you. Please turn on your cameras, and let's have some fun. I mean, the whole idea is to have some fun, and let's see. And I'm sure you will find that a lot of these ideas may not be new to you. Only you may not have thought of it in that manner. That's what I would like to tell you. And so with that, let's get into the program. And let me jump into what is value. I mean, we use that word very frequently in life. This is valuable to me. This has a lot of value. What do we mean by value? When for me, when I say something has value, what I mean is that something or someone is important and special for me. That is what I mean by value. So when I talk about creating value, what I mean is you are in the process of creating something which is special, which is beneficial, and which is important to not only you, but to at least a small group of people. At least, I mean, I use the word here, at least. It can be for mass good, but there should be at least one more person other than you who is benefiting out of this. So the concept of value is actually, it's an age-old tradition. I mean, and I wouldn't say tradition, but it's an age-old idea. It has been there forever. And only thing is, people have articulated it differently. So what I want to say is that this concept of defining value, the concept of value should be very clearly defined by each and every one of us. When I say something is valuable to me, do I even know what that something is? That thing which is adding value to us cannot be something which changes. So when stakeholders come, whether it is in your life or whether it is a part of an organization, they come there with certain aspirations. And only when these aspirations are met will we have created value. So the first step in creating value is having an idea of what are the realistic aspirations of the stakeholders and make sure that these aspirations are realized. Now, second idea that I want to put out is of profit. Profit and profitability are not bad words. Let us not say that, every relationship or every association which creates profit is bad. Profit is not a bad word. Greed is a bad word. You should be profitable, but you should not be greedy. Remember this distinction. Because to survive, you need to be making profits. Even when I can give you an example. I have joined the RISE platform. I am giving this workshop today. I'm joining it. I'm doing this with a profit motive. I am hoping that some of you will listen to what I'm saying and will come back to me to learn more. So there is a profit motive in this, but I should not be greedy in this. That, I want to make, I'm not doing this with some ulterior motive. That is bad. So profit is good, greed is bad. Please realize this distinction between profit and greed. When will you create, so going forward, when will you create value? You will create value when this association, whether in the form of a friendship, whether in the form of a mentorship, whether in the form of a business enterprise, this association has a certain longevity to it. And this longevity is achieved without compromising profitability with greed. So you will attend this program only if you gain something from it, a few ideas, something to stimulate your thought process. Otherwise, I don't expect you to get up at 7 in the morning, get fresh, attend a program at 9 in the morning, if you're not going to benefit out of it. So that is also good. You will stay with the program only if you're going to benefit from it. So that is what I mean by profitability. So profitability is good. You have to benefit from things. But if the association is built on greed, then it is bad. So profitability is good, greed is bad. And only a profitable association can stand the test of time. I mean, why do we like to sit down with our friends? We sit down with our friends because it gives us an opportunity to laugh. It gives us an opportunity to drop our window. I mean, all the various walls that we have created around us. The best and purest friendships that we have are with our school friends. I mean, I always say, because they are the ones who have seen us in shorts and dirty shirts. Everyone else has seen us. Now you see me in a suit. But my school friends have seen me in shorts. For them, I am still Kumar. And I mean, they have various nicknames for me. I am still that. And that has stood the test of time because the benefit, the association happened without greed. We profit from each other, no doubt. We spend good time. We have some laughing moments with each other. But other than that, we don't expect anything from each other. That is what I mean by having a very, very healthy and profitable relationship. Sachin, would you like to ask your question?
Sure, Mr. Kumar. I'm audible?
Yeah, very clearly.
So thank you. Very good morning to all of you. It's very well said. It's very true. Like there is a it's difference between greed and profit. But I think it's completely different on the perspective of a person who is basically understanding this point. Because I think for one person it could be something like it could be a profit. For other person it could be greed. So we need to be very much judicious, and we need to keep a point of just in our mind to understand the difference between profit and greed. So it's a basically reflection. Yeah.
Correct. I agree, but I mean, yes, you're right. But because again, let me put it this way: if you associate with me from a profitable point of view, you think that I am something that I do is going to give you benefit, but I associate with you out of greed, because other than giving you what I also try to extract something unreasonable out of it. That association is not going to last, because you will realize it at some point in time that I am a leech. I am extracting something more than the value that I am giving you, and you will disassociate. So that relationship is going to break, because it's not going to be harmonious anymore. So it has a way of normalizing itself over the long run. I mean, you can fool some people some of the time. You can't fool all the people all the time. So it has a way of balancing out over the long run. So I mean, you will be profitable for some time, but greed will ensure that your profits die down very quickly. So the third one, and this is where creating value comes in. Creating value is ensuring profitability in the association and longevity in the association, while simultaneously achieving the stakeholder aspirations. So, I mean, if you have come together with certain aspirations, those have also to be met. So coming to your question, Sachin, if you realize over time that the reason why you came in that association is not being achieved. It's only give, take, but there is no give for you. You will automatically move away from that relationship. So that is the third leg of value creating association. That it has to be profitable, it has to have a longevity, and at the same time, it should also meet your aspirations. So if it is not doing that, there is going to be a break. A line which I always like to say, and this is something which I hold true for everything in life. Sustainability is possible only on a bulging wallet and not on an empty stomach. Take a minute to think over this. Sustainability is possible only on a bulging wallet and not on an empty stomach. I mean, I could replace creating value, sustainability with creating value here. So, I mean, when we have a situation where I am struggling for survival, I am going to be looking for only those associations which are going to help me fill that hole in my stomach, which are going to keep me afloat, which are going to keep me on survival, which are going to help me survive. I don't want to be in survival mode forever. So I will create value, or I will join an association which is creating value only when it is going to help me survive. So I can create value only when I have the resources for doing it, not out of thin air. So that is very important for us to realize. How do we achieve this creating value? How do we create this value? We create this value by balancing the aspirational needs of the stakeholders. I come back again and again to stakeholders. Who are stakeholders? I will get to that in just a bit. But one thing which we need to exhibit in all our interactions is ethical behavior. We should not take any steps which show otherwise. Our ethical behavior is what is going to stand us in good stead when we want to create value. What do I mean by ethical behavior? There are certain prescribed behavioral patterns which are normally acceptable in the world. I mean, you should be honest, you should be transparent, speak the truth, treat everyone fairly, etc., etc., etc. I mean, so ethical behavior is very important if you want to create value. The other thing which I like to talk about, and which I tell all the people that I normally work with, is a personal moral line. Your ethics and your beliefs should be, you should carry them on your sleeve. It should be for all to know. This is what I will do. This is what I will never do. Don't even talk to me about this. I would much rather give up a relationship than compromise on my principles. That's very, very important. So this personal moral line is very important. And your personal moral line defines you. There is no ideal personal moral line. Let me again make that very clear. Your personal moral line is your personal moral line. My personal moral line is my personal moral line. What does Kumar believe in? These are Kumar's beliefs. This is Kumar's thought process. These are the principles he will not compromise on. So I have defined that. And that is something that I live by. Similarly, each one of us should make a personal moral line. And that personal moral line should be uncompromising. I mean, people say, yeah, what happens if I do it? I mean, if I violate my personal moral line, maybe 1% of the time or 2% of the times. That 1 or 2%, it does not take long for that 1 or 2% to become 10% and then 50%. Because when you do it even once, you are setting a bad precedent. You already have a precedent for it. That you did it then, why can't you do it now? So your personal moral line should be 100% inviolable set of standards. And once others know this, then it is up to them whether they want to be a part of your life, be a part of your organization, be a part of this journey with you, this value creation journey with you. I mean, that is their choice. If their personal moral lines match with your personal moral line, then they will be a part of your life. They will be a part of your journey. But if the personal moral lines don't match, then they are free to leave. But this is something that has to be made very clear. Where did I get this idea from? I mean, I would like to just delve a little bit here. I mean, we are all aware of the life of Lord Ram. Value creating, or this concept of value creation, as I have put forward, I mean, my idea on value creation, I would like to say, draws its parallel from the life of Lord Ram. If you can define the entire life of Lord Ram in one line, what would it be? I'm sure a lot of us know about the life of Lord Ram. What is the defining characteristic of Lord Ram's life? I mean, this is a question I would like to hear from you before I go further. What is the defining thing in Lord Ram's life?
प्राण जाए पर वचन न जाए.
That is one, yes. Anyone else?
Maryada Purushottam Ram.
Yes. Why was he called Maryada Purushottam Ram?
Because of Prana Jai par Vachan na Jai.
That is a fallout of what he did. But what is the defining concept of his life?
Upholding the law for all citizens.
Upholding the law for all citizens. Yes, he did that. But these are effects. What is the base?
He respected his father so much that he decided to go to the forest without questioning.
Yes, that again is a result of his action, of his beliefs. Yeah, Rakesh, you had something to share?
His values.
His values, yes, true. But I mean, the singular defining principle by which Lord Ram lived his life is that there is no wrong way to do the right thing. Kailashji, coming back to what you said, or Kanchanji, what you said, Pran jai par vachan na jai. Yes, but the vachan has to be nibhavified, or you have to keep your promise by right means, not by any means. That is what is the defining principle. That is what I mean by the personal moral line. That you have to do right, but you have to do right the right way. I mean, his thing was not a single innocent should suffer. Everything has to be done. This is the right result, but there is also the right to achieve the result. He never compromised on his principle, his goal. Are you able to hear me? Because I'm only seeing black tiles, so I don't know if any one of you is around or not. Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
thank you.
yes, I'm able to hear you. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So so that is the thing. That is what I want to say. If you want to create value, you should be seen creating value the right way. So, like they say, there is a saying in Hindi or even in English, Ant bhala to sab bhala. Yeah, all's well that ends well. No. Only that which ends well the right way will create value. If you are not using proper means, if you don't use the proper approach, you will never, even if you achieve the right goal, you are not done it in an ethical or a moral way. So this is where I come to what I call about, what I would like to call the quadruple bottom line. I call it the quadruple bottom line for association, and that is, and this is mainly for companies, but you can use it in your personal life as well. So you talk about people, you talk about profit, you talk about the planet, but you do it with principles, the fourth P. And today, unfortunately, the fourth P is forgotten. But if you want to create value, the fourth P is more important than the first three Ps, or just as important as the first three Ps. So we should never compromise on our principles, our personal moral line, that inviolate Lakshman Rekha which we have. That is very, very important. And if you are not able to do that, you ultimately will not end up creating value. Any questions at this point? I mean, as I said, please feel free to interrupt me at any point in time to ask your questions. Let's not keep it till the end. So.
Actually, I'm traveling, so there could be background sound, but I think what you're sharing, sir, is amazing, because I am from College of Social Work, Nirmala Niketan, and I teach social entrepreneurship. So what I believe very firmly is the fact that when we're looking at entrepreneurship, engaging with industry, the main thing is that what stands out as entrepreneurs is the fact that we need to have principles. And I think that is what is amazing. And I really second that and third that, if you say, it's really wonderful to hear that point. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Cletus. My pleasure. Anyone else before I get into the knowing your stakeholders?
Yes, so this is such a wonderful session, and I'm getting to hear some gems of wisdom from you. So really thankful for that. I actually, though I'm a founder of a for-profit startup, it's called Loan Genie, but I'm also trying to see how I can have social impact through financial inclusion, through giving away a portion of our proceeds to charity through that. So, there's a strong element of social impact also involved. My question was that as I, go with the day-to-day functioning of running my company and a for-profit company, sometimes I do come up against challenges, which basically challenge my principle, which ask me to take the easy way, the quick way, the painless way. And I also, am, unfortunately, some of the people that I have talked to in times like this, they have always advised me to take the easy way. So in which case, I feel very lonely, and I feel actually like a fool for sticking to my principles. So how do you think entrepreneurs who stand firm should deal with that?
See, I can share a couple of examples with you on that. One is in my, I mean, both of them are in my personal life. So one is my daughter's passport application. So I at that point in time we were in a township in Karnataka, and there was a standing unwritten rule, so to speak, that during police verification you are expected to pay a certain amount of money to the police station for getting the passport done. I mean, for get the police verification done. And I mean, I was expecting to pay a reasonable amount of money, but the policeman in charge asked for some exorbitant sum, and I refused. And my daughter's passport was not issued for almost 2 years.
Wow.
Okay, but still, that's fine. I mean, we moved, we came to Mumbai, then we applied in the RTO, I mean, in the passport office in Mumbai, and eventually on Tatkal, she got the passport because she had to take her SATs. And the passport is the only valid document which SATs accept.
Right.
And at that point in time, what I did not know was that even though the passport was issued, they would still refer back to the old police station for verification that did these people actually stay there. So they went to that place. I mean, and that policeman calls me and says, "Sir, you think you've escaped from me? I can always send a report saying that you didn't stay here, and your daughter's passport can still get cancelled. Don't think that you've escaped from my clutches just because you've gone from here." So it so happened that I was a little disturbed, and I was talking to one of my colleagues in Bangalore, in the Bangalore office at that point. And he said, "You look disturbed today. What has happened?" And so I told him. And that gentleman actually was the ex-DIG of Karnataka.
Oh.
DIG of police, Mr. Gopal Husur. I can take his name. He's the one who got caught Veerappan, in case you know of that. So he was involved in that. So he says, "He's troubling you. You don't have to worry about this." He picks up a phone call, calls the commissioner of police and says, "What the heck is your department doing?" And you won't believe, within 5 minutes, the policeman from that police station called me and said, "Sir, why did you have to complain?" No, sir, your daughter's verification is done. Don't worry." So, I mean, all I'm saying is that I could have paid him, but I chose not to. I mean, it took me 2 years, but, eventually these things have a way of working out in your favor. If you are right, and if your principles are not wrong, then these things have a way of working out in your favor. The universe wills it that it will happen. Otherwise, why should I have a meeting with Mr. Gopal at that time, and why should this thing be reflected? But so it does happen. So you have to just believe that what you're doing is right, and as long as it is ethical, you will never have to compromise.
Right. Thank you so much. What I understood was, having patience and also
Yes.
believing in people,
Yes.
the goodness of people, that things will come around. Thank you.
Yes, sure. So, I mean, going forward, I talked a lot about stakeholders. Who are stakeholders? Any individual or a business entity which has material involvement and a direct impact on your life is a stakeholder. I mean, what do I mean by that? Anyone you interact with who can affect your performance is a stakeholder. And an individual or entity whose circumstance or behavior has a direct impact on the performance of your business is also a stakeholder. They need not be directly working with you, but what I mean by that is we all work with consultants. They could be individuals, they could be organizations which do consultancy work. If the consultant is accused of unethical behavior, even though he may not have done that in the context of your organization, just by his organization being implicated, you get affected. So the entire consultancy is a stakeholder in your enterprise. So not only they don't need to be directly involved with you, by association, they become a stakeholder. And when they come in as stakeholders, there are certain aspirations, why they become a stakeholder. So let us get to that. Now, our stakeholder basket, I put stakeholders in 4 baskets, broadly. The first basket is those who depend on us. When I say stakeholders who depend on us, they are people who pay us. I mean, they pay us maybe monetarily, maybe in kind, maybe by just allowing us to relieve our stresses for a while. Just to be, just to make you feel relieved. So that's the first set of stakeholders, that is, who depend on us. The second set of stakeholders are those whom we depend on. That is, whom we pay, in which we have an investment. The third set of stakeholders are we ourselves. In case of in case of a firm, it is the owners, the shareholders. They are the third set of stakeholders. And the fourth set of stakeholders, and this is the set which is usually ignored. The fourth set of stakeholders is the environment and society. The most abused set of stakeholders. I mean, there is a concept from Japan. I don't know how many of you know about this. It's called Sanpo Yoshi. What the Japanese say is that in any transaction, for them, there are 3 stakeholders. There is buyer, there is the seller, and then there is society. Society is an integral part of any transaction. If your transaction does not benefit society in some way or the other, then that transaction is not creating value. If your transaction does not create value for the environment, your transaction is not creating value. You have to leave behind a society or the environment which is much better off than when you got into the transaction. That is when you have created value for the environment. That is when you have created value for the society. Otherwise, you have only profited from the environment. You have only killed the environment for your greed. So that is something which you need to be very clear about. Now, when we talk about stakeholder aspirations, I mean, we could get into this a little bit more. I like to put them under the lens of the 4W1H. Or before we get to that, I mean, before we get to the 4W1H, I would like to take a minute here and talk about what are, now we move away from an individual to an enterprise. So when we talk about an enterprise, who are your stakeholders in an enterprise? I mean, and this I am being very broadly defining an enterprise. It need not be only for profit. we're talking not for profit, we're talking even governmental policies here. So irrespective of what kind of enterprise it is, you have seven stakeholder groups that you need to satisfy. The first set of stakeholder groups are customers. The first set of stakeholder groups are customers. Without customers, we don't have a business. So what is it that we need? Do we know what our customers want? Why are they a part of our enterprise? What are they expecting from us? The first thing that a customer expects from us is truth and honesty. There is no value washing, so to speak. We're being transparent, we're being honest. Our communications with them can be quoted at any time, and it need not be taken with a grain of salt. So we are being very honest in our communication with our customer. The second thing that a customer wants from us is privacy. We will not divulge his information to anyone. So that privacy is very important. And the third thing that a customer wants from us is value for money or satisfaction. He wants health for he wants his stakeholders to be safe when they are using your product. And he wants that his supply chain remains safe. These are the things that he is looking for. Price is not the first consideration when someone becomes your customer. Price is important, but it is not always L1, which is important. There are other considerations, other aspirations for your customers to be a part of your organization. Employees. I mean, that is the second set of stakeholders, the ones whom we depend on. We depend on our employees. Because without employees, we don't have a life. I mean, an organization. Even in our day-to-day, in each of our lives, we have quote unquote what we call as employees. We have housemates, we have people who drive us around, we have people who work at our houses or work at our offices, or the people who are there. So our life depends to a large extent on these paid services which we avail of. So what is the aspiration of this set of stakeholders? What are they looking for? They look for equity. The most important thing is they look for equity. Everyone wants to be treated with respect. Everybody wants to be treated as equal. That is the first thing that an employee looks for. The second thing that they look for is fair wages. Are we paying them as per what they deserve? Not what they perceive they deserve, but what they actually deserve. Are we doing that? That is the second thing. The third thing that an employee looks for is health, welfare, and safety. Are we taking care of the health, welfare, and safety of the employees? The fourth thing that they look for is development. Whether it is personal development, that is individual development, or their family development. Are we working towards that? The fifth thing that they are looking for is engagement and satisfaction. Do they feel satisfied being a part of your enterprise? Do they feel engaged when they are a part of your enterprise? And the sixth and most important thing that they are looking for is value for their human rights. Are you treating them as humans and not as slaves or machines? That is very important. So these kinds of aspirations have to be understood. And if you want to create value, these aspirations have to be realized. Otherwise, you're ignoring a whole set of stakeholders just for making profits. That will not make you a value creation enterprise. The third set of stakeholders are partners. I mean, you call them vendors, you call them suppliers, you call them anything. I mean, in our day-to-day life, we call them the shopkeepers, we call them the vegetable vendors, the meat vendors, etc., etc. They are there. I mean, so what are they looking for? I mean, why would they want to be a part of your value system? As as being a responsible enterprise, how are you helping your supply chain to improve? How are you helping your supply chain and your distribution channels? How are they improving? Are they benefiting from being a part of your enterprise? How much of MSMEs, VCEs, or these marginalized groups are you working with? Or do you work only with large corporations? That is important, because the backbone of any enterprise are the small and medium enterprises, which are a part of the ecosystem. The third, again, to those who are putting messages on the chat box, if you need to make a comment or if you need to just challenge me on anything, don't wait till the end. Please raise your hand, and when I am between points, we can discuss these things. Don't wait till the end. So, again, I said that at the beginning of the talk. So go ahead. I mean, Lakshmi had something to say. Lakshmi Singh, please go ahead. Let us discuss on this. Are you there? Hello?
Mr. Kumar, she's just been promoted as a panelist. You just speak.
Okay. Please. Yeah. Go ahead, Lakshmi.
Can you hear me?
And can you also turn on your video?
Yes, we can hear you, Lakshmi.
I'll turn on, but I think, the place where I am, I think maybe network. Just try to.
Okay.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Actually,
Hello, you're on mute again.
One second. Hello.
Yeah.
I'm audible?
Yes, very clearly.
Thank you, sir, for giving me a small opportunity to just express my views. I'm really happy to see that the way you all are connecting the business to the social requirements also. And I would like to first, should I introduce myself a bit?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm basically a lawyer, practicing lawyer in Delhi, and I'm also I'm also running one NGO which is registered in Delhi, but I am working within the slums of Delhi and the villages in Bihar. And right now I am in Bihar because I have some projects here to, execute. So what I feel that during the this discussion, the way you all have explained about these stakeholders, it's amazing. And one very point which I would like to express is that when our stake is involved, the way you said, it's everybody looks for value of money. That is really good. And besides that, uh, some people or many people, they look for some ethical business also, like one anything which has been promised during the starting of the business has to be implemented when the final results comes out, and that apprehension uh, people hold.
Right.
So,
See,
and they,
yeah, go ahead.
so this is what I would like, to just add in, that businesses are fine, but it should be attached to some moral values and ethics also. That is the point I just want to add.
No, I mean, that's a very valid point. And I mean, one thing which I forgot to mention actually is, and this is something that I strongly advocate to everyone, is to write things down. I mean, these aspirations which we are talking about,
Yeah.
everything should be written down. See, this is something which I find as people, we don't like writing things down. Because the minute it comes in black and white, then you are bound by it. So people don't like to write things down. But if you are really serious about creating value, if you are really serious about making a social impact through value creation, then you should not be loath to writing things down. Let your beliefs, let your value system be in writing for everyone to see.
True.
What
Very
is
true.
wrong with that? I mean, if this is
Yes.
something that I believe in, I should be proud of it.
Yeah.
I mean, the basis of all transactions is on, if you believe that the basis of all transactions is honesty, then you have to stick to what you believe in. And the way to do it is to put it out for the world to know. These are my beliefs. This is my value system. This is my personal moral line. And I am proud of it.
True.
And the minute you start putting these things in writing, then the trust issue disappears. Because they know that this is what he believes in, this is what he will do. But unfortunately, people don't write things down. We have a huge
segment of people.
No, I mean, my word is enough for you. Don't you trust my word?
Yes,
obviously I don't. Obviously I don't. The very fact that I'm asking you to write things down means that I don't trust your word, because you have gone back on your word in the past.
Right.
So put it down in writing. There's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong in getting things totally written and agreed upon.
Yes.
That helps in the execution itself.
Yes. Cletus, you have something. Thanks, Lakshmi, for sharing that.
Thank you.
Cletus, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Actually, I just wanted to, share something on the fact is that, many times organizations, especially NGOs, and they kind of write it in their brochure, saying that, these are the values that we uphold. This is the values that we uphold. I think beyond that, I think whenever there is, I would say that put those values down, as you said, no, write it down. I say sometimes it is important also when two stakeholders get together, there needs to be a MOU. And often the MOU is often only written in terms of transactions, expectations, so like, you say, I promise to deliver this, or, you have certain, timelines and certain delivery points. But along with the delivery points, there should be also values that need to be also. I promise that this kind of or I undertake that this will be done in this fashion, which promotes the values that I uphold. I mean, just a thought that came to me.
Actually, Cletus, that is a very good way of working, actually. And in fact, when we work to create value for social impact, what we do or what we recommend is that when you have 7 stakeholder categories, 7 stakeholder groups in 4 stakeholder categories, all their aspirations should be written down in a single sheet. So that not only when, let's say, as a supplier and as a buyer, we have our terms of engagement, but at the same time, how these terms affect society, how these terms affect environment, how these terms affect my employees, those are also to be written down in the same sheet of paper, so that you have a holistic view, and only then will you create social impact. Just having an agreement between you and me on how we will behave, we may be affecting other stakeholder groups adversely. So our interaction has to be in harmony with the other stakeholder groups also. Otherwise, we will not create social impact. So you're absolutely right. I mean, we should have this, but we should also have the larger picture in our mind when we enter into this transaction.
Yes, true, sir. You know, what you say is very true. Why I also thought about it is because recently I was reading about the environmental impact in terms of, there is an organization called CSE, Center for Science and Environment. And interestingly, they were talking about how a lot of industry people backtrack on what they promise in agreements, and they actually go in total contradiction to what the government or rather what they promise. So that's just a thought that came to me.
Correct, correct. No, I agree. I agree. So moving forward, along with the partners, the next set of stakeholders is the environment. And the environment is a very, very important stakeholder. Unfortunately, a stakeholder who is voiceless. Voiceless in the short term, but when this stakeholder raises its voice, then we can't stand before it. The climate change and the climate catastrophe which we are seeing now is the environment voicing its displeasure at our behavior. I mean, and when it comes, it's in such catastrophic proportions that we can't stand before it. We have to pay for the crimes that we have committed against the environment. So what is the environment looking for? I mean, the environment is I would say the environment is like a mother. She can take a lot of abuse, but when you exceed a certain level, your mother also slaps you. Maybe it is to just correct you. It's the same way the environment also comes back to you. What the environment is looking for: control your waste and pollution, conserve water, be responsible about energy, ensure the biodiversity, live and let others also live with you. Make sure that you make proper use of land. I mean, the environment is very giving, but we end up abusing it. So these aspirations of the environment have to be taken care of when we plan any action. Even in our personal lives, be judicious in the use of plastic. I mean, I look back at when I was little. I mean, we used to have the milkman who used to come home and deliver milk in utensils which my mother used to go and collect the milk in. It was a far more environmental friendly practice compared to the plastic sachets that we get today. I still remember going to the Kirana store with a bag in my hand and no plastic packaging. The cloth bags, we would get the food grains in the cloth bag, bring it home and put it into our containers. It was far more sustainable, far more in harmony with the environment compared to what we are doing today. So this kind of convenience, I mean, this comes back to what Kanchan talked about a little bit before. How do are we compromising? Yes, we are compromising, because out of convenience, we are compromising with the environment. I mean, personally, I don't use any plastic. I mean, I carry a bag when I go shopping. My family carries a bag when we go shopping. But I mean, nothing is too small or too big. And environment is not asking you a whole lot. It can tolerate a lot of abuse, but don't over abuse it. That's all we say. So that is the fourth stakeholder group. The fifth stakeholder group, which I would
I
like
have a question.
Yeah.
Sir, sir, as an NGOs, like we are such a special school, we work for special children. So as a special school, how can we inculcate the value or stakeholder of environment into our system very well? Like won't the donors or supporters or partners will question the fact that you're diverting from the core working of your...
You have to build a narrative, and by example. The way for anything to be shown is by example. If you walk the talk, the donors will automatically fall in line, because their organizations would believe in these principles. If they are not believing these principles, then you should not be associating with them in the first place, because your value system is different from their value system. You tell me, if you say that, if you tell a stakeholder or a donor that I don't believe in single-use plastic, and we don't encourage single-use plastic in our organization. You tell me one donor who says, no, I will give you money only if you use single-use plastic. I mean, it does not make for good, even for that organization. It is not good marketing sense to insist on something which is bad for the environment blatantly. So you have to, your message has to be customized so that the donor also feels bad for asking you to do something. That is very important. How you say it is as important as what you say.
Okay, sir. Yeah.
As I said at the beginning, there is no wrong way to do the right thing. You have to be seen doing right the right way. So, because the point is, if you give in, I mean, I know there are a lot of compulsions. There may be reasons for you. You may want that money very badly. But if you compromise once, every donor will ask you to compromise. And then your NGO itself will lose its reputation. That this is an NGO where you can go and dictate whatever you want to dictate, and they will accept it because they want money badly. So you will actually end up defeating the very purpose for which you have set up an NGO. I mean, is it clear to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So,
yeah, go ahead. You had a follow-up on that?
Yes, so just a bit as to making it a value, like successfully making environment protection of environment a value, where we can engage our special children in activities focusing like once a week or twice a week or something like that on the ground, that we engage them into activities of growing plants, saving, making it a value. Can we make it a very strong value in our organization successfully?
I mean, it is your choice. Again, as I said, it is your choice. If you want to make that as your USP, go ahead and do it. There's nothing wrong in that. It's a very good thing that you want to do. And in the future, it can actually become an USP for you. that we teach our children to live responsibly, to live harmoniously with nature. And it can become a magnet for attracting donors in the future. But again, do it for the right reasons.
Yes, sir.
Don't do it for getting money. Do it for teaching the children good values. Okay.
Makes sense. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So going forward, the next set of stakeholder group is the society. This is something which again we have, let me put it this way, interpreted to suit our requirements. I mean, our interaction with society has been modified to suit our narrative. What we expect a lot from society, and when I say society, I also mean the local government and all that. But the first thing that we do is, are we very honest in paying our taxes? Are we honest? How much are we concentrating on localization? Whether it is local area development, local livelihood development, how much are we concentrating on that? I mean, I still know that a lot of the rural areas, their means for enjoyment is putting everyone taking everyone and going to the city, which is 100 kilometers away, to spend an evening in a mall or something like that, or just to see the lights and then come back. Why should we do that? Why can't the cities go to the village? Why can't we do that? If we have a commitment to society, that is what is called commitment to society. Every facility should be available locally. That is what is called as local community development. Local employment and engagement. Why should people have to move out of their local areas for employment? That is what society wants, that let them remain in their local areas. If they want to move out of the local area out of choice, that is fine. But they should not have to move out of their local area. If they want to live a comfortable, a satisfied life, they need not look beyond their local areas. And in turn, you will be also affecting the environment positively by localizing. So how much as an enterprise are you promoting localization? That is what society wants. How much are you doing to develop local infrastructure? That is the third aspect. And the fourth aspect is charity and volunteerism. I mean, this is now beginning, but organizations look at CSRs, organizations look at volunteerism. How much of that CSR and that volunteerism is in your local community? There is no point in giving to an NGO which is in a big city. If you are located in a small area, there's no in a distant area, there is no point in investing in CSR in an area which is outside your area of influence. How much do you invest in the local region? That is important. That is what society wants. Unfortunately, what is happening today is that revenue is generated in the hinterland, and the stakeholders, the shareholders, the owners live in big cities. So the revenue generation point and the revenue spend point are two different areas. the local area never benefits from having this value creation in that area. So there is no social impact for that value. You have to be, and that is what society as a stakeholder wants. You have to put local first. Otherwise, you are not creating value for social impact. You're creating value for yourself. And these are two different things. I mean, everyone knows about the owners and the shareholders. They're in there for getting a good return on investment. That is not bad. You need a good return on investment. As I said at the beginning, profit is good. Make profit. Don't be greedy. That's the distinction that we need to make. So at the same time, meet these other stakeholder group aspirations as well. And you cannot go wrong in value creation. So having looked at the stakeholder groups, what are these aspirations that when I talked about some aspirations. What is the common thread in all these aspirations? The definition of smart. These aspirations have to be smart, meaning they have to be specific and well defined. We cannot say generate local employment. That is not a specific aspiration. When I say a specific aspiration, what I mean is, if at least 10% of my business will happen with local traders, that is a specific aspiration. I will work with local traders is a very, very vague definition. But the minute you say 10%, at least 10%, it is specific. So that aspiration has to be specific. The minute I say 10% of my transactions will be with local traders, it is measurable. Someone can come and measure and see that, yes, this is how much I am engaging with local businesses. This is how much I am contributing to local business. This is how much I am developing local business. So it is measurable. Third, actionable. Am I taking actions to implement this? I mean, are these transactions really happening? So it is actionable. Is it realistic? I mean, I can always make a claim saying that, oh, all my business will be local. But is it realistic? Will not happen. I may have to look further away for certain inputs. So it's not realistic. So have a realistic target as far as the aspiration is concerned. And then timely. And this is also very important. It has to be time bound. You cannot say, okay, I will do 10%, my 10% of my business transactions will be local. But I will do it maybe in the next 10 years it will happen. That is not timely. Timely is, I say, within the next 6 months or 1 year, as soon as I can start doing it. In the near future, it will become, you can come back in a year's time and you will see that this is happening. That is timely. Timely cannot be whenever. So these are the 5, what everyone calls. It's not my connotation. This is a universally accepted jargon. SMART. Specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, timely. Has to be done. And so whenever we look for aspirations and whenever we look for commitments for these aspirations, they have to be smart. And each of these 7 set of stakeholders have to ascribe to smart aspirations. And this is when the minute you start applying smart, greed goes out of the window. Because a greedy aspiration is never a smart aspiration, because it's not realistic. So the minute you start talking about a smart aspiration, your greed will automatically go out. Sachin, this is something we talked about early on. So the minute you talk about the smart in your aspiration, the greed will go out of this equation. Is it clear to you, Sachin?
Yes, sir. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is just tying back to what we discussed in the beginning. So this is predominantly what I had to say, that if you are able to tie all this thing together and work with all your 7 stakeholder groups, you will be creating value. You will have created value for all of them. And that is when you have created social impact. I would like to give an example here. I mean, every one of us in our daily lives has what I like to call a circle of influence. I mean, every one of us can make a difference. I mean, we all have a circle of influence. Unfortunately, we don't realize how much impact we can create in our circle of influence. Let me give you an example from my personal life. We have a domestic help at home. And I'm not saying we pay her a lot. I mean, we're not, she makes about 8,000 rupees a month. This is what we pay her. She comes in for a couple of hours, maybe 3 hours a day, and helps out at home. Now, the terms of engagement with her, other than the money, is one, she has 3 kids, 2 sons and a daughter. The elder son has done some vocational course, and he's working as an electrician. He's 20 years old. The second son is in 10th grade now, and the daughter is 11 years old. The agreement we have with her is that the day her daughter drops out of school is the day she does not have a job at our place. That is the first agreement we have with her. The second agreement we have with her is that she will not marry her daughter till the daughter has finished at least 12th grade. If she violates any one of these 2 conditions, she does not have a job at my place, at our place. This is an agreement we have with her. I mean, for me, the 8,000 rupees is not very big. But for her, the 8,000 rupees constitutes almost 50% of her monthly earnings. And that is big for her. And we are not asking her for something unethical. So this is a way of creating social impact and creating value without compromising on ethics. And every one of us can do this. Unfortunately, we don't realize, we don't take an interest. We have forgotten our social values. All of us can do it. I mean, this is not rocket science. And this calls for nothing. This calls for nothing. It's just being responsible citizens, so to speak. So each one of us can do it, and we can apply it in our day-to-day lives. So let's just think about these things. Let's think practically. Let's think realistically. Let's think holistically. Because I have a vested interest here. I mean, I'm not saying that this is purely altruistic. I mean, she's a very good, reliable household head. And I would not like to lose her, definitely. I mean, my wife would probably divorce me if, I put something like this, which would cause her to leave the job. But this is called as balancing of aspirations. We have an aspiration that she should be with us, but we also have an aspiration that we should do something good for her. I mean, just because she has been a domestic help and she does not know better, doesn't mean that the rest of her family has to continue to be a domestic help in their lives as well. Why can't we improve their point in life? I mean, their lives going forward. The second thing that I would like to touch upon here is on social innovation. I mean, we say we are a highly innovation-driven organization. Yet, almost 95% of all startups that are innovation-driven are catering to a very small basket of individuals. A very small basket of individuals. I mean, social innovation is something which is virtually dormant in our country. I'm not saying it's dead, it's there, but not to the magnitude of the other innovations which are taking place in our in the world. Why am I saying out our country? In the world, our emphasis is on innovating for money rather than innovating for impact. That is the difference that we need to make. Because again, our innovation is driven by greed rather than by the need to make an impact, the need to make a difference, the need to create value. That is the difference. Only when we listen to the aspirations of the environment, because the environment says, have an ecosystem which is carbon neutral or carbon positive, will we then start looking at things where profit is not the primary driver.